So I found myself rewatching Arcane for the fifth time, and I really want to talk about it. There's a lot about this show that I love. The atmosphere, the characters, the world building, the choreography, the animation, it's nothing short of excellence. And the team deserves a ton of praise for debuting the world of Runeterra in such an incredible way. Not only have they been delivering with the show, but with their other games as well. The Ruin King game was really good, and their other projects look promising as well. Now, that being said, this show is not perfect. I have my own gripes with the show, and I'm sure everyone else does too. My main issue just comes with the show's finale, as I personally think that they killed off Silco a little too early, and the ending hits with a really frustrating cliffhanger ending that still doesn't sit right with me. But I digress. What I want to talk about in particular is one scene. My favorite scene with my favorite character. Vander, despite being only in the first half of the show, not counting this, is my favorite character in this show next to Victor. And there's many reasons for it. He's a cool bartender, he's an old mentor character, and if you know me, that's the easiest way to make me like a character. He's voiced by JB Blanc, so, he's got a lot going for him that makes me like him. But he's also someone that I personally get really inspired by, because despite being a big guy that could easily solve a lot of issues he has with beating the shit out of whoever is in his way, he instead always tries to find a way to solve a problem peacefully. He is terrified of going back to his past, and he hates the man that it made him. The opening scene conveys this really well, where we see him drop his gauntlets to carry Vi and Powder off the bridge, letting go of the aggressive freedom fighter Vander to become a more compassionate and caring father to 4 children that had their lives ruined beyond their control. Now, it's actually pretty ironic because the kids that he takes care of resemble a lot more of the old Vander. The first thing we see is all of them stealing from a Piltover citizen, showing that they hold the ideology of screwing Piltover and gaining something themselves. Vi even argues about this to Vander in the first episode about how much he lost his touch, but he is understanding about this and explains to her why it is the way it is. While he is upset about the mistake, he is understanding of it, and he has made the same mistakes before, and this carries over later in part 1. Everyone in the lanes wants to fight Piltover, but Vander is resistant to it. He doesn't want another war to happen, as he has seen firsthand what it can do to people. The cost of life and humanity that it takes on everyone involved. To paraphrase,
war makes men mad.
Something that I love about Vander is that he is someone that is very visibly troubled by his mistakes. And that's something that a lot of us can relate to. Because there are times where we get so bothered with the mistakes that we make, so much to the point that we don't want to think about them again, in fear that we will repeat them. The scene where he takes Vi to the bridge is a reflection of this, as he teaches her that going to war with Topside will just result in more problems. And we even hear that he is still tormented by the mistakes that he has made, by the man he used to be.
He even says that he has no idea what to do at this point.
It's so gut-wrenching hearing him say that. It's a reminder that while we can look up to these older, wiser characters that typically have the answers and solutions to almost any problem, they're still human. His back is to the wall, and he is so reluctant to give anyone up, despite it being the one thing that he can do to keep the lane safe. And after this, we see Vi taking this teaching to heart. She finally understands what she has to do to keep Powder and the rest of the Undercity safe. Despite initially being upset with Vander about making this deal with Piltover, she comes around to it and understands why things have to be this way. But Vander realizes this, and he comes to save her. We see another fatal flaw in Vander here. While he has a deal with Grayson, who is another great character that died too soon, in his pursuit to save everyone in the lanes, he ends up failing on multiple accounts. He refuses to fight back against the enforcers, which causes Safika to turn to Silco, and he is unwilling to let Vi or any of the kids take the fall for the Hextech explosion, which causes Marcus to get more aggressive with the enforcers. And now, when he's pushed against the wall, Vi wanting to give herself up, and Grayson arriving to take someone in, his heroism gets the better of him, and he offers himself to be turned in, even though Grayson tells him that's a bad idea. But before they can go that far, Silco makes his move and captures Vander. And kills Grayson, the one thing that was keeping the peace between the Lanes and Piltover. Even in his conversation with Silco, he continues to reject the man he used to be. Even after the death of two of his friends, he refuses to return to his old ways, and what he fears the most is staring down at him. Silco embodies the complete opposite path. Vander tried to find a balance, whereas Silco doubled down in his ways. And even when the kids are trying to save him in a desperate situation, he keeps true to his new life as a father to them. For example, just take a look at this scene where he calms down Milo when he's picking the lock.
Take a breath. You can do this.
Vi even takes the mantle of being the aggressor, putting on the gauntlets and protecting everybody. And everything is looking like they'll be able to get out without losing anyone. But then Powder comes in, and the explosion happens, and yeah, it's pretty bad. Vander sees two of the kids that he promised to protect dead, looking in utter defeat. To him, he failed to protect them. And now Silco and his goons are coming to kill him. And he is set to let it happen, as he sees no reason to keep going. Until he finds out that Vi is still alive. And this is where we get to it. My favorite scene. Finally, against everything that has happened, Vander now realizes that being passive is no longer going to work. So he pulls out all stops and walks out. I love this reveal. It has a lot of weight to it, it's incredibly sad, but also very heroic at the same time. The first two goons that go up against him just don't stand a chance. He effortlessly dispatches them, and he even gives Shimmered Up Deckard a run for his money. Like, he was beating the shit out of him for a second. But even then, determination is not enough to take them down. And that shot of Vander grabbing Silco's neck after stabbing him, showing the tragedy of these two who were once brothers, and now they're trying to kill each other. And with that, Silco drops him off the bridge. But Vander's not done yet. He realizes that he doesn't just have to go back to the man he once was. He needs to become a monster to save Vi. And oh my god, is he terrifying. Now we see how dangerous Vander is. A glimpse to how he was before. Side note, I love Silco's body language right here, like how he takes a step back. But even then, he still has a choice. To either go after Silco or save Vi. And he runs to his daughter, protecting her from the blast. Vander may have fallen back to his violent nature and become a drug-induced monster. And as far as we know, he may have become even more of a monster. But to his final breath, he still retained the new man that he became. A father. And this is why Vander is my favorite character in this show. He's not a perfect human, but he still represents what we should strive to be. He's kind, he's understanding, and he's a great role model. Now, I'm not a father, but I still find myself connecting with Vander and characters like him because they're so inspiring to me. Arcane is a show that respects humans of all kinds. There's always going to be arguments on Twitter about how a particular show degrades men or women or how they treat one or both sides so unfairly. But Arcane doesn't have that. It shows respect to characters of all gender and understands that they are ultimately human. They all have good and bad intentions, they all make mistakes, they all have flaws in their own rights, regardless of who they are. I love this show, and if you somehow haven't seen it, I cannot recommend it enough. It's not perfect, despite what people may say. And there are plenty of flaws. But this show has something that a lot of shows nowadays don't. A message.
When will you admit that Rebels is good? When I've been kidnapped. And you will know I've been kidnapped because I will never say it. Because it sucks. Why didn't you talk about River in your Cyberpunk video? Because my first instinct is to never trust someone that's voiced by Robbie Daymond. Okay, but real talk, River is an okay character, I just feel he is very undermined compared to everyone else. His quests are good, but they don't really grow on him. They kind of grow more on the story itself. The first quest grows on him, but his second quest is more about his nephew and saving him from the psychopath. So honestly, he kind of falls flat for me. This is just my opinion. What's your opinion on the French? Well, they got good animation, so I'll give them that much. However, if other Europeans are judging you because of your food, then maybe you should reevaluate something. Have you / would you cosplay a female character? I have, actually. It was back in, I want to say, 2015, where I cosplayed as Clementine from the Walking Dead games. I don't have a picture of this, unfortunately, but it's something I do remember for San Diego Comic-Con. And let me just say, I do have some plans for the future.